Well, talk to me, Gunna. Talk to me about this Crime Stopper video that everybody's circulating. They trying to use that against you. What was that about?
I don't know what the fuck that's about. I don't crime stopper well. I ain't never stopped a crime. Never.
Yeah, when I watched the video, when I watched it, you was actually saying that your people was in jail because somebody else was talking on them. That's what I took from it.
Right. A nigga, my cousin went to jail. A little girl got killed. My cousin went to jail for it. Another nigga went to court and said my cousin did it, but my cousin didn't do it. That was, I'm putting them down on like, but y'all got the wrong nigga. This is my cousin. My cousin still got life for this shit. Right now to this day.
A 19-year-old Kansas City woman shot and killed by a stray bullet. Jasmine Lynn was simply walking along the Clark Atlanta campus with friends.
Here's the latest tonight. Police say Jasmine Lynn was struck in the chest just after midnight. At least 6 shots were fired during a fight at Clark Atlanta University.
Another student was hit, treated at a hospital, and released. Police say security cameras probably captured the gunfire, but they do not have a clear description of the shooter.
For now, police are looking for one suspect.
With the YSL having their day in court fighting a RICO case, Gunna, aka Sergio Kitchens, have come under the scope within the hip-hop community. Meek Mill, frequent collaborator Lil Baby, Polo G have unfollowed the YSL rapper on social media. Lil Durk even seen to diss Gunna over a newly recorded song. A little over 7 months after his arrest in May, Gunna was released on December 14th. The rapper pleaded guilty in what is known as an Alford plea, a deal that allows him to plead guilty if it's in his interest while maintaining his innocence. His 5-year sentence commuted to time served and 500 hours of community service as a part of the deal. Days later, 7 other defendants took plea deals and were released from jail ahead of the new year. But this isn't the first time that Gunna has come under fire for allegedly snitching. According to court documents on justlaw.com, on September 3rd of 2009, Jasmine Lynn, a 19-year-old from Kansas City, had a 3.8 GPA at Spelman, was at Clark Atlanta University in the campus apartments for a birthday party for a friend. Nearby on the campus that night was Devani Benton, better known as Devo, who was along with several friends. Benton was wearing a red hooded shirt, had his hair styled in a reddish colored mohawk, and carried a distinctive tan and red Gucci backpack. A group of men who was in the campus apartment at the birthday party decided to leave the birthday party, got into a car, started driving, and passed Devo's group as they walked. Mean mugs were exchanged between the two groups, which escalated into an exchange of heated words. Devo displayed a handgun that he had took from his backpack. Someone from the car made the remark, "You're not going to use it." Someone else in the car made the phone call from the cell phone back to the party to another group who was still at the party and tell them about the incident that was going on outside. So the party went outside. Jasmine goes outside and see a melee between the two groups. One of Devo's friends was being beat up in the middle of the fight. Lynn attempted to break up the fight. Devo ran down the street and fired several gunshots into the group. One of the bullets hits Jasmine in the torso, also hits another person in the forearm. He would go on to live. An onlooker attempted to tackle Devo, but Devo broke away from the attempt of the tackle, leaving his book bag on the street. He fled the area, leaving the book bag behind, with his fingerprints on the bag and the items that was in it. Within 2 days of the shooting, Devo changed his hairstyle from a mohawk to a low cut, which furthered the suspicion to the detective that was on the case about Devo. At the trial, Devo testified that he was at the scene of the shootings, but claimed that he ran down the street away from the fight. A friend of his, Clarence Carter, ran down the other side of the street, and it was Carter who fired the shots back into the crowd. He also testified that he and Carter had been dressed alike that night of the shootings. Although Carter wore dreadlocks hairstyle, all the testifying witnesses said something about the mohawk. Now, there was one witness who said the guy with the dreadlocks was shooting. Devo also testified that in fleeing the fight, he dropped his book bag as it only would impede his flight out of the area, and that he was the only person in the area that night with the book bag. He also admitted that he lied to investigators, giving a false version of his arrival and departure from the area and telling them he did not have the mohawk hairstyle that night of the shooting. Before speaking with investigators, he had collaborated with Carter and the other friends who were with him the scene of the fight and the shootings. In coming up with a false story he originally gave investigators. Devo also produced 2 witnesses who testified that Carter made remarks to them that they interpreted to mean that he committed the shootings. Several witnesses testified that the shots came from the side of the street that Devo was running down on. Brandon Hall, a bystander to the fight, identified Devo as the shooter. But check this out.
We're back with In Session in Georgia versus Benton. I'm Vinny Politan. Now, before the break, you saw Brandon Hall talk about this case. Now, he's the only witness to identify Devontae Benton as the person who shot and killed Jasmine Lynn. He did it in a photo array. Now, In Session got a hold of emails sent from Brandon Hall's Facebook account to Devontae Benton, the defendant, his girlfriend, saying that he may have been mistaken about the shooter's identity.
On DevosChange.org, the petition for the exoneration of Devo, it quote, the eyewitness who swore under oath in the court of law stated he looked the shooter in the face. Mr. Brandon Hall has been proven he was not in the vicinity in order to be able to identify the shooter, end quote, in which it prompted Devo's family to do the Crime Stoppers video. Devo's cousin, Sergio Kitchens, aka Gunna, did not snitch in the technical sense of the word. He may have dry snitched, but Gunna is nowhere to be found in the paperwork in this case according to just law. Anyway, what do you make of this situation? Light up my comment box and subscribe as I attempt to cover everything on culture, because to us, culture is everything.